Hey friends, welcome back. Today we're talking in the Saxon, the Saxon Algebra 1 book, 3rd edition. We are doing lesson 55, complex fractions. Now, all you need to remember about complex fractions. A complex fraction is just a fraction within a fraction. And what you need to remember is we never divide fractions. We multiply by the reciprocal. Multiply by the reciprocal. That's going to be key here. So there's two different ways to do these examples. For the first one, I'm going to show you if I rewrite it, and this is my division bar, right? So I've got a over b divided by c over 1. Now, I never divide fractions. Instead, what I do is multiply by the reciprocal. So this becomes a over b times, and the reciprocal of c over 1. And by the way, I just put that c over 1 because I'm allowed to do that to anything that I've got, right? I'm allowed to put it over 1 to make it a fraction. So the reciprocal then would become 1 over c. And when I multiply fractions, I just multiply straight across the top, straight across the bottom. A times 1 is a, and the bottom b times c is bc. So my solution would be a over bc. Now, the other way that you can do this is, let's look at example number 2. Instead of, you're still multiplying by the reciprocal, but you're doing it on the bottom and the top. So the reciprocal of 1 over b is b over 1. Times b over 1. On the bottom, these cancel out, which is great because that's exactly what I want. And upstairs, multiply straight across the top, I get b. Straight across the bottom, I get c. And that is my answer. So you can either turn it into a division problem or multiply both the numerator and the denominator by your reciprocal. All right, let's take a look at this one. Now, this one's a little different because you've got to be careful to make sure that you're selecting like the big division bar. So in this case, and in fact, it might help, this is our big division bar. It's a little more clear in the book. So what we have is a over 1, because remember, I can make anything into a fraction by putting it over 1, divided by 1 over c. Now, we never divide fractions. What we do instead is multiply by the reciprocal, and 1 over c would be c over 1. So if I were to multiply straight across the top, I would get AC, and straight across the bottom would just give me 1. And anything over 1 is just itself. So in this case, our answer is AC. Let's look at example 4. If we do, remember, protect your addition subtraction when you have it in a fraction. So protect your addition subtraction. Now I'm going to do multiply by the reciprocal. So A plus X over b, and those cancel out, but what I do on the denominator, I gotta do upstairs. So a plus x over b. So let's clean this up a little. If I multiply straight across the top, I get a plus x over x times b would give me x, or bx or xb, it doesn't matter, either order. Now, this is why I say to protect your addition subtraction, because what you could do is distribute this to here and to here, but I also use those parentheses for protection so you don't accidentally cancel out this x here, because you gotta factor things out before you can cancel them out. All right, so here are your practice problems. Pause the video, go ahead and do your practice problems, and then come on back and let's see if you got them. All right, so here are your answers. If you did not get those for your answers, then you need to stick around and let's go through those together. So for this first one, let's put this over 1 and multiply by the reciprocal, 1 over d times 1 over d. That gives me x over md, because remember, these would cancel out. For this one, same idea, z over 1, cancel, cancel, times z over 1. Multiply straight across the top, I get z. Straight across the bottom here, I get c, and that is my answer. Good. Z, this is ZR, so I'll pause and look at it. So give me 1 second, let me pause. Okay, so that was my bad. This was supposed to be an R here. Sorry. So this is an R, so it'd be an R here, so it is Z over R. Ooh, sorry about that. Okay, so for those of you who got it correct, so I guess nobody got it correct, right? Looking at it like, oh, how did I get the C there? Okay, let's do multiply by the reciprocal, D over B times d over b. These guys cancel, and I'm left with nd. I like to put mine in alphabetical order, so dn, but nd works as well. Over a times b is just ab. Okay, so nd, or because you see the answer is nd here. Okay, for this guy right here, this one, because this is my big division bar, is this one right here. So it might make sense to rewrite this. W over 1 divided by 1 over W plus C. Now again, I want to protect my addition subtraction. So W over 1 times W plus C over 1. 1 times 1 is 1, and that's on the denominator, so I can just get rid of that. And that leaves me with W times W plus C. Now you could distribute that if you'd like to, but I think that you can also just leave it like this, and that's the easiest way to do that. Hopefully that helps. If you have any questions, drop a note below, and then I will answer them as I can. Otherwise, great work, and we'll see you next time.